Hello, welcome. My name is Seal, Divine Rose, numerologist, and we're actually going to talk today about your natural money making superpower with numerology. This is the field that I specialize in, and we're basically talking about what your life path number is and what that money making gift that comes with that is. So I have my notes here next to me, and I'm going to be sharing with you guys. And if you want to drop your birthday or your life path number, let me know and I can tell you about you specifically. We're going to start with number 1. If you have a life path 1, your main money making superpower with life path 1 really comes down to leading and taking action, like turning ideas into action. That's the superpower for life path 1. And so usually they're very good with creating businesses or innovating in some kind of way. Usually they're also inventors, or they do something that's just against the grain. They're very different. They're usually the trailblazers in their family. And so it's common on the path that they encounter a lot of obstacles in the sense of people not supporting them at first or people not understanding their vision. And so some of the blocks that they can have are, like not feeling supported by their close family or their friends, people that just don't see their vision. And that's part of it. That's normal because they're here to create something different and they're here to forge a new path. That's why they're also the trailblazer. They're also inventors. Thomas Edison is a life path 1. Steve Jobs is a life path 1, by the way. The Weeknd in music is life path 1. So these people always kind of bring something new, and it doesn't matter what field they choose. Like the more they follow their instincts and their inner voice, the more they create something that benefits all of us, but just something very new and different. So that's the life path 1's superpower. So if you feel different sometimes, that's okay. You are doing what you are here to do, okay? In fact, if you try to dim that light and you try to do what everyone else is doing because that's what society told you, then you're not going to feel good in the long run, and you're going to probably have a lot of regrets down the line. Follow that inner calling and know that you are different, but that's part of you, right? And we need that. And following that will lead to a lot of money, because the thing also is, like, when you dim your light and just do what people tell you to do, or what's the quote unquote right thing, then you're not actually using your gifts. Whereas when you listen to that inner voice and you do that thing, then you end up using your gifts a lot more and you get paid a lot better for your gifts because there's something that comes so naturally to you, and people might look at you and be like, how are they doing that? And to you it's easy, and so people are willing to pay more money for that. Does that make sense? So always follow that inner calling because it's leading you somewhere. But let's move on to life path 2, money blocks. For life path 2, they're kind of different than the 1. Life path 2 are very good at playing the supporting role, at really connecting people. So 2 is all about people, relationships, community. And this is a gift. Like, this is really, really, really important. They're the people who make friends instantly. They're the people who you just feel like you could open up to. Usually the best way that they make money is through partnerships, right? Whether they have a business partner and that business partner really gives them that solid support structure and they go really far together in business, or even just through networking. Maybe they have their own business, but they're just very good networkers. And so they get a lot of clients that way, or they get a lot of jobs that way, right? So really their thing is through people, and they have this sensitivity. And a lot of times life path 2s are kind of taught that sensitivity is a bad thing, or that it's a kind of weakness, but it's really part of their energetic makeup. And sensitivity is really important because it makes them excellent with people. They really understand how people think. They really know how to make people feel seen, people feel heard, and like people just love them, right? And so don't think of your sensitivity as a negative thing. I know that if you're life path 2, you might have been told that growing up, and you might have been told to stop being so sensitive, but that's part of what makes you you. If you go into art or something, you can create really beautiful art pieces too, because again, that sensitivity touches everything that you do and brings so much beauty that people are like, oh, that you evoke such emotion from people. I'll give you guys examples of life path 2. I'm thinking Barack Obama is a life path 2. Oprah has this number also, in her birth date number. Emma Watts. So these are people who tend to be really good connectors, and they're just for the people. People just like them, right? The main money block for number 2 could be that if they're undervaluing themselves, they're so people focused and they love people and they're all about the people, to the point where if they're not self-aware enough, it could lead to undercharging or just not valuing themselves, right? The 2 also has to work on making sure they feel valued and looking in the mirror and doing mirror work to constantly reaffirm that value. Going out into the world, that'll make you much stronger in whatever field that you choose. to be in, and it'll make you a better receiver too. And so you need to receive just as much as you give. That's part of the fair balance of giving and receiving. And that's what makes you really wealthy too, because if you're always giving but you struggle with receiving, then that is a money block. So that's for number 2. We're going to move on to life path number 3. These are the creators, these are the entertainers. These guys, they're just made to be doing something, and entertaining can be different. Like, I know some life path 3s who have businesses. I'm thinking of Natalie Ellis, if you guys know her, Boss Babe. She's a life path 3, and so her form of creating is really, she does a lot of content creation and programs and all this stuff, and that's a form of creating. But there's also a lot of them, like Kevin Hart is another famous life path 3, and he's a comedian, and this is a very classic life path 3 thing to do, because they're just natural entertainers and they bring good vibes, right? So the 3 is, they're really here to express themselves, right? It's all about joy and influence and self-expression. Okay, now the main money block life path 3 is that they can struggle with some self-doubt. Okay, and it's ironic because there's the people who honestly need to be seen the most, but they can have this strong inner critic that makes them not express themselves, right? Or they express, but they don't share it. Maybe they have beautiful art at home or these beautiful gifts. It doesn't have to be art. It can be content creation, singing, speaking, comedy, anything, but they are afraid to share it, right? And so part of their journey is to release money blocks around self-doubt and self-criticism. The more they step into their joy and they're confident in their self-expression, the more that people will recognize their gifts, and they end up being paid very well for that. Okay, so that's number 3. Another famous example is Celine Dion. So she has strong 3 energy, and you could see, she's paid incredibly well for her singing ability, right? Celine Dion, Kevin Hart, Natalie Ellis, tapping into that will take you very far as a life path 3. Let's move on to life path 4. Life path 4. So your strong gift for life path 4 is organization and management. Life path 4s are very good at building foundations. They're the engineers of society. They don't have to be real engineers, but they're the ones who build the strongest foundations, and they're very stable, they're very careful, and they build for the long term. It's a little bit different than life path 3. Life path 3 can tend to maybe be a little bit irresponsible. Life path 4 is the complete opposite. They're very structured, responsible. They're not maybe as self-expressive, but they're like hard workers. They're here to put in the work, and they build systems. They're good at managing details. A famous life path 4 is Bill Gates. So if you're life path 4, make sure that you found the thing that you are good at, that you want to pursue, and that you stay with it, because your wealth really multiplies with time, with the more of the system that you build and the more effort that you put into it, and just the time that goes with it. They're very reliable. They're very grounded. In terms of the money blocks, some of the things that could be is also self-doubt, like maybe just focusing a little bit more on the worry or the negative of a situation than the positive. They're very careful to the point that if they're not self-aware, being too careful can hold them back. So it's important to still have that quality of being careful and reliable, but also take risks, do different things, try different things, especially if you haven't found your thing quite yet. Allow yourself to try different things, right? Until you find that thing, because, once you do and you stick with it, you can go very far. But if you don't change the path you're in, even though it doesn't fully inspire you, then it might drain you more than be able to give to you in the long run. Make sure that you are taking risks and being open to learning new things. Don't just stick with what you know. All right. Welcome to everyone joining. We're talking about life paths today in numerology and what your specific money-making gift is with that life path, and also some money blocks to overcome. So thank you for being here with me. My name is Asil, by the way. So we're moving on to life path 5. Okay. So the life path 5, they're really good at, they're here for, selling, promotion. They're very persuasive, and they're also very good with speaking in whatever way that comes to them. So they might make a lot of money as being public speakers, or as being salesmen, or in content creation. A lot of 5s are also freelancers. So these are the people that honestly, they don't do really well with structure, and they like to be on their own. They like to do their own thing, and it works for them. They have that's their energy. It's very adaptable. It's very flexible. So don't try to put them in a box. Life path 5s probably don't do the 9-to-5 thing. They can't. And so they need something where they get to be themselves. They get to be fluid and flexible. Their path is all about, traveling and adventure and having fun. And they bring fun to wherever they are. And they do excellent in sales, because especially if they're passionate about the thing, then they're naturally very persuasive, and they do really, really well. People trust them, and They know how to tell stories. They're very charismatic. So if you're Life Path 5, I would definitely recommend you go into sales or something, marketing, social media, anything that's fast moving that involves you traveling. Very, very good for Life Path 5. Let's talk about money blocks for Life Path 5. Sometimes their struggle is that they change too much. You want to be able to follow through because they're very flexible and adaptable. They can have a little too much fun changing, but actually once you found your thing, then commit to that one thing. And hopefully you found your thing that involves like change, involves travel and adventure. So you're still allowing your energy to come through, but you're not changing careers all the time. Okay. So you just, that's one thing for the Life Path 5 is a little bit too much change can be a bad thing. And, commitment, learn to commit to the thing. So Life Path 5s are also the number that's most associated with working a job for only a couple months and then leaving or something like that. So you want to make sure that you work on your committing ability to commit. Okay. Let's move on to Life Path 6. So Life Path 6 is a very sweet life path. Okay. So these people, 6 is associated with family. They're very nurturing, very giving, very loving. They're the people who are meant to be teachers or coaches or nurses or caregivers. They do amazing in consultancy or even like real estate. They're very associated with the home and they bring beauty to whatever they do. They're all about beauty and like luxury and comfort. So they do well. If you're a content creator and your life path is 6, usually you're probably something in the beauty industry or something about helping people feel better in one way or another. So 6 is really about that. They're for the people. And they're very creative and they're also magnetic. So 6s also have that magnetic quality. Now, some money blocks for the 6, that self-sacrificing nature. Because they're so loving and giving, it's a good thing to accept when it starts to come at your own expense, right? So a lot of 6s might end up giving so much to their family that they're not doing the things they know they need to do to grow their business. You want to watch out for them and you're not selfish for putting your needs first, right? You actually can do more for the people around you when you put yourself first, because then you can grow your wealth, you can grow in your fulfillment and your happiness, and you're not feeling resentful. If you're always putting others before you, you might start to feel that resentment. So that's just something about the 6. Put yourself first and know that you're still good for doing that. 6 is all about, they're really kind-hearted and they really care about being good to the point, again, that it can block them. So know that you are still good and learn to receive. Again, they're givers. They're like the 2. They're givers, and that's a beautiful quality. That's why people trust you, people love you, but make sure you're not over giving to the point where you don't know how to receive, because that'll also reflect in your finances and you'll find that you're doing so much for others, but you're not like receiving back. Okay. So learn how to receive. And a favorite affirmation I have for the Life Path 6 is, I am safe to receive. I am safe to receive. It's really simple, but if you just repeat that a lot, if you're Life Path 6, then you're going to notice doors opening for you and your bank account growing. So let's move on to Life Path 7. Life Path 7 is a very interesting one because Life Path 7 is a very spiritual number. But in terms of their money gifts, they tend to be a little bit of the researchers and the analyzers. They also like the details as well. And they're very logical. They tend to do really well in areas that require analysis or areas that are all about research. They're really good at being the expert in one's niche. Life 7s require a lot of alone time as well. So if you feel that call, don't feel guilty about it. That's just part of your nature. You do like that alone time. That's where you can kind of uncover more wisdom and be more of who you are, because they're also associated with wisdom, with mysticism, with being a sage, right? So like a guide. So, if you feel that alone time or that craving for alone time, follow it. Know that that's for a reason. So that's a little bit about the Life Path 7. They're the teachers and they're researchers. And I just released a video on this yesterday, but the Life Path 7, their main money block is that they can be a little bit over analyzers, right? They can, similar to the 4, they can struggle a little bit with the details a little too much to the point where it keeps them stuck, or they have this doubt, right? They don't believe because, again, they're so logical to the point that they might not make room for that magic, right? The things to actually work out. So what I know is that sometimes they could start off like having some disbelief in spirituality, especially younger in life, or religion, but as they grow, usually in their 40s and later, they might actually have like very strong spiritual experiences, because it is the energy associated with spirituality and with religion, right? And then with those strong spiritual experiences down the line, they might do a 180 and go from being someone who like doesn't really believe in much in terms of spirituality and religion, and all of a sudden be like super spiritual. And that's not uncommon with the life path. Okay, so that's like a cool, interesting fact about them. My name's Cecile, and I'm a numerologist, and I love to help people manifest more money with their energy. Tapping into abundance is such a beautiful thing, and it heals the world, especially when you do it with your natural way. You're not like forcing and you're not struggling, but you're tapping into your own energy and your own gifts, and that brings abundance. So that's what we're talking about here, is how to maximize that and to tap into your next level of wealth and abundance. Feel free to let me know if you have any questions, and welcome once again. We're gonna move on to life path 8. So this is a funny one because, I mean, it's not funny, but it's fun to talk about because life path 8 is known as the money number. And, you know, even in Chinese medicine or the Chinese culture, which they also do a lot with numerology, across cultures, 8 is the money number. And I was talking to some friends who are life paths 8, and they're like, everyone says I'm the money number, but like, where is it, right? And I was like, oh, so that means we got to look at your money blocks too. So 8 is the money number. They're here to run businesses, to manage money. They love the finance, the management part of money in a business. And so they tend to do really well in roles as CEO. They're also very good with their power, right? Their sense of personal power. It's just something they naturally hold on to. They have this sense of authority to them. They also do really well in investments, again, because they love to manage finance and money. So investments really good, high level strategy, and they're like the 4 in the sense of the long-term wealth. They like to choose one thing and build it long-term. Hello, welcome. Thank you for the follow. Thank you for being here. We're talking about your life path number and the money gifts and money blocks associated with it. If you're life path 8 and you're like, where's my money? Because I've seen this a lot with life path 8. It might be because you're in your money block energy, and that's totally okay. I think society really grooms us to have a lot of money blocks, but the more we release them, the more we tap into wealth with ease, right? With things just aligning, right? Opportunities and stuff like that. With the 8, their main money block is they tend to have a little bit of a fear of, like, you know, losing money. They tend to hold on to their money a little bit. And yeah, there's just some fear around control, around power struggles. The 8 life path isn't always so easy. They might have grown up in an environment where there was a lot of control, right? They just have some healing to do around control factors. Okay, that's their main thing. And also learning to kind of trust and surrender and to really see themselves as that boss CEO, to hold on to their power and to trust themselves, right? Know that they're here to manage big money, to feel safe in that. Because society's always telling you like negative things about money, like, oh, money doesn't buy happiness, or if you're rich, you won't be happy. That can really affect the life path 8 and make them disconnect from that. You know what? You're here to manage big money. You're here to make big money. And that's okay. That's part of your calling, right? And once you do, you're going to be a lot happier, actually, because you're going to do what feels natural to you, and you're going to make a lot of money too. So that's a little bit about life path 8. Life path 9. So the life path 9, this is a very spiritual life path and a very beautiful one. Usually earlier on in life, they do struggle a little bit. And then later on, once they do the healing work, so much beauty unlocks for them, because it's really a heart-centered life path. It's one about humanity, about giving to, you know, on a large scale. So I'll tell you guys, a famous life path 9 is Greta Thunberg, Bella Hadid. These are 2 life path 9s that are quite famous. Angelina Jolie has strong 9 energy. I can't remember if it was her life path number or her birthday number, but she has that energy as well. And you see these people, they're really here for the people. They care about people, about the environment, about justice, right? They're very charismatic, and they just have that leadership energy. Well, they usually are involved in activism or non-for-profit or whatever it is that they do. They love to donate to charity. They love animals, any form of giving, right? Another famous life path 9 is Louise Hay, right? It's hard early on in life, but later on it can become so beautiful. And for some people, when you tap into that gift of giving and humanity, that's when it becomes beautiful for you. So it doesn't matter the age. It's just when you tap into that innate gift, and then your life also grows. The more that you tap into those things, the more that you're going to find opportunities coming to you, and just the right people and money opportunities as well. And yeah, they're here for missions. So they're really attracted to any kind of mission-driven brand or having their own mission and following it. Okay, life path 9. In terms of money blocks for the life path 9, is that they can be a little bit of like a martyr, right? Because they're such givers and they care so much about people and humanity. They might struggle to receive, or they might sacrifice themselves a little too much to the point that they don't allow themselves to receive. So make sure to, you know, if you struggle with this, to do some healing work around that. By the way, I do have a money healing course, if that calls to you, where we heal money blocks and negative beliefs around money and tap into the beauty of money, right? So we can receive. If you struggle with receiving that, that's something to look into. And to just feel safe. Like another affirmation I just shared earlier is, I am safe to receive, right? And you just say that all day long. Super powerful. work on your ability to receive, because once you understand the more you have, the more you can give, you see that receiving is actually divine. It's a gift you're doing for others as well, right? Because then you have more now to give and you're more comfortable and you have your needs met. So you're just a better, higher vibration version of yourself. So that's awesome. Allow yourself to receive. Life path 11. So we're going to do the master numbers. Not all numerologists talk about master numbers, but I live for the master numbers. So we're going to do master number 11, master number 22, master number 33, and master number 44. I got a question the other day. They were like, oh, like 44, is that a thing? Is that a life path? And I'm like, yeah, because usually people will reduce that to an 8. When you see a 44, I wouldn't just reduce it. I would still take it as it is, because it's going to be different than 8 from, like, you know, life path 17. 8, right? 44 is quite unique and it has a divine assignment. So let's get started. Okay, so life path 11. You're here to guide and inspire with your vision. Just like the life path 1, the life path 11 might be called to things that seem crazy or just ahead of their time. That's really what it is. As a life path 11, don't wait for other people's approval. Don't even share your visions with everyone, because they might not get it, right? If you share it too early and they don't get it, that might kind of discourage you. So I encourage you to just share it with yourself, a journal, or in a really safe space. Just know that your ideas might be ahead of their time. We need that. So life path 11s are called to share, writing or speaking or just any kind of form of self-expression. That's really good, because the more that you share your visions and your inner wisdom, you just have so much inner wisdom, life path 11, and you don't even know where it comes from, but it's just part of you, right? It's part of your energy. So you might have very vivid dreams, receive messages through dreams. I recommend you meditate, spend time in nature. These things are really important to keep you grounded and allow you to access these visions more and allow you to tap into your purpose more. The master numbers tend to have more of a divine assignment, so they tend to be more spiritual. So I always recommend like meditation and stuff like that for them, because that's where they'll receive downloads and divine wisdom that guides them on their next path, on their next step. Otherwise, they might struggle and feel like lost or feel a lot of inner tension, because the master numbers can also come with that tension. And so you want to make sure you're always being very grounded, and that way you're able to express the highest form of the life path that you have, right? So that's a little bit about life path 11. You're guided to share and to speak, and you have a creative vision, and you're really here to uplift others, and you want to make sure you're doing that, because it just won't feel good if you're in a career path that is not doing that. You're going to feel drained. You're not going to feel excited by life. You want to follow your life path number. Okay, so teach, speak, share. That's a little bit about life path 11. Let's move on to life path 22. These guys, another master number, these guys are really here to build something big and lasting. Life path 22 also reduces to a 4, because 2 plus 2 is 4. They're just like the life path 4 energy, in the sense of they're here to choose one thing and to stick with it long term and to just build on it more and more. That does really, really well for them, and it grows into something beautiful. But they, again, unlike the life path 4, they tend to have more a spiritual kind of basis to them as well, as with all master numbers. It's you're here to really turn, spiritual ideas into real world things and empires even. So you're about the empire energy, whether it's online brands or global businesses or anything like that. I know in life path 4 or life path 22 for she's a singer, and I've been following her journey on Instagram for a while. I just saw her start from like very little into making, very, very, very big success now. And I'm just always so proud of her. I mean, I don't know her personally, but I watch her on Instagram and I'm like, wow, and I see that they're here to really build for the long run. Okay. That's what works well for them. Life path 33. How are we doing? Welcome everyone. Thank you for joining. We're talking about your life path number and what money gifts come with it, and also what money blocks to watch out for. We're almost complete here. Life path 33 is the divine teacher and the divine healer. Okay. And they're really here to self-express, because in their self-expression, that's where they live out their purpose. So they're here to uplift others. So whatever self-expression looks like to them, it could be writing, it could be teaching, it could be comedy, anything, right? Art, but they're here to self-express, and they're all about that heart-centered leadership. So they tend to have hearts, like really good hearts, these people, and they're just here to give and to serve. And you want to tap into that energy as a life path 33, because that's where all your wealth comes from, right? Our wealth comes when we tap into our greatest gifts, right? especially if you want like large wealth with not as much struggle. You want to tap into your gifts, things that come easily to you. And so for you, it's really about healing others through service, through words, heart-centered leadership. You'll do great as a coach, any kind of teacher. Excellent, really, really excellent for Life Path 33. Something to watch out for, some money blocks, is it could be a lot of money blocks around that expression, right? Because it's a 33. So the 3 and the 3, when they come together, you could have some inner tension in terms of a part of you really wants to express and really wants to give, and the other part of you is like super shy and has all this throat chakra blockages. That's usually the master number energy, because you have 2 of one number. They can kind of fight each other a little bit, but that's part of what makes you here to master your life, right? The master number is you're supposed to kind of overcome these and find a beautiful balance and harmony between the two. And so you might struggle with some self-doubt or inner criticism or anything that makes you not want to share. But believe me, listen to that gut, listen to that guidance and share, because you're going to discover who you truly are only through sharing and living out your purpose, right? So whatever comes naturally to you, express it, share. No matter how shy you feel or how they tend to be harder on themselves, but when other people see them and see them sharing, they actually love their energy. They love what they bring to the table. So don't listen to that inner critic and allow yourself to really share your gifts, okay? So that's the message for Life Path 33. We're going to move on to the final one. I'm going to move on to master number 44. So again, this is like a newer master number that I'm starting to see in people born in the 90s, like the late 90s. I've seen a lot of master number 44s in those. So that's really cool. So their money gift really is about scaling global systems, and it's all about service. Unlike other 8 life paths, the 44-8 also has a spiritual tint to them, and they might actually shy away from that and hide it in their business, in their work. But I would encourage you to actually tune into it. And even if you don't feel comfortable sharing that spiritual side of you, I would always encourage you to meditate or to spend time in nature, any kind of spiritual practice, because all master numbers really need that spiritual grounding to them. Otherwise, they can self-sabotage, right? They can have a lot of inner tension that gets in the way. So make sure you're grounding. But yeah, the 44, I'm looking at my notes here, you're a powerhouse of manifestation. You know, the 8 is all about power. And so your life here is about overcoming obstacles to come into power, whether it's in your personal life or in your financial life. In terms of becoming a CEO or a boss of any kind, that's usually what you guys are called to. So those are all of the life paths. If you guys have any questions, let me know. I had a lot of fun sharing this with you. I'm going to pull a card here. I have my chakra oracle deck. So I'm just going to pull a card and see what our main money message is today. What chakra do we want to work on to access our next level of abundance? Okay. Let's see what's coming in here. Ooh, okay. We got this one. We got number 17. So also adds up to an 8. Really funny. A lot of 8 energy today in the air. And it says choice. Okay, so this is about choice, and it's the solar plexus chakra. So it's all about free will, courage, willpower, and change. This is a very, very, very strong energy here, okay? And I'm actually gonna read the guidebook on what it says, just so I'm giving you guys exactly the message that you need to hear today. Okay, so number 17 with choice. The quote here, it says, within every moment is the power to choose. Your choice determines your experience of life. Choose wisely. So this is all about taking back your power, personal power here. Okay, you are in charge and you're the master of your life. So choose accordingly. It's easy to fall in that victim mentality, right? And be like, oh, well, I can't do this because of that. And I can't do this because of that. And you're just finding excuses or blaming other things. But the only one who's going to suffer at the end of the day is you if you do that, right? You have, choices, you have options, and take control, okay? So let me read the full card message here for you for number 17. It says, this card is an encouragement for you to realize how much power you have through the choices that you make. Sometimes we choose certain things because of familiarity or subconscious patterning. Sometimes we feel like life is happening to us, when in truth, our life situation is playing out exactly how we are choosing it to. That's powerful. Choose to make your situation better and more positive, and instantly that higher path will begin choosing you in return. Choose to let go of the patterns of behavior that hinder your well-being, and you will make room for higher choices to come through. So if you recognize yourself in any of these blocks, you have the ability to choose to let them go and to heal them. Look at the outcomes of your current choices, the energy of your relationships, your job, health, daily routine, the way you spend your time. Which of your current choices support your highest vision for who you want to be and the life you truly came here to live? Which choices do not? It takes courage to really do this work and to really look at your life in this way. Assess, right? Choose a goal that you would like to achieve. Start with a small one if you like. Plan how you will meet this goal, and every day make a choice about how you will stick to this until it comes to fruition. When we remember that we have choice, life becomes an exciting world of opportunity. Step out of your comfort zone and try something new. You are holding the reins of your life. Choose who you want to be and how you want to live today, and ride. So what a beautiful message for today. All about personal empowerment and taking power over our lives, right? Knowing that we are the ones who are responsible for our life. I think that wraps up today's session so beautifully. Thank you guys so much for joining. And remember, if you want to take your money healing journey to the next level, I do have a money healing course where you guys can go in and work on your money blocks, release them, and let them go. We are here to do big things in this world. Follow your path, follow your purpose. It will lead to ultimate fulfillment, and you will meet a version of yourself who you are so proud to be. That only happens when we follow that inner voice. So thank you so much for joining me today. I wish you guys all the best, and I will see you on the next live.